This Richmond NASCAR 2024 weekend betting recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Yeah, that is my turn to crack it open. It's the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Chicken shit free since 2003. We are here today, ladies and gentlemen, to recap. I mean, listen, we could go on for probably 3 hours on this race, Cody. We won't, but I got to tell you, this is the most controversial race we've had in a very long time, in a season full of controversial races.
I guess that this probably takes the cake, Rod. It was quite a finish, and I'm very excited not only to talk about it because I have a lot of thoughts, but also to hear your thoughts because I think that's really what the people are waiting for. Because I've been very vocal in the Discord. If you're over there, you know how I feel about this. But Rod has, I believe your only comment was the stewards need to take a look at it. So yeah, I'm very interested to hear your thoughts.
I wanted to save it for the show because I feel like this is definitely a ratings getter for this one in general, but we'll save all of those thoughts for the recap of the Cup race. And obviously we'll get to that first and foremost. I don't want to bury the lead. We were in Richmond this weekend. Debbie stayed away. We actually had racing. We had fantastic racing. In fact, in some opinions, I know there's some people that don't agree, but there was a lot of great stuff that happened this weekend. We had fantastic Saturday night. That was a fun night to have as well with the trucks and everything. So yeah, I mean, listen, Cody, it was good to have racing back.
Hey, look, the short tracks have been just boring and not good racing, and we're always complaining like, are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Are you not entertained, Rod?
Some people just need that little extra push in the right direction. And I'll tell you the push in the right direction to send you in right now is that the Sports Gambling Podcast just launched their 32 NFL team previews. They're giving out a $500 Circa future for listeners, plus the EPL returns. So make sure to check out the Soccer Gambling Podcast and the EPL Gambling Podcast for your footy fix. Although footy means something different to me because I'm an Australian football league guy. But, you know, if you're into that soccer footy, get your fix over there. Soccer Gambling Podcast. Subscribe to both, whatever you want, wherever you get your podcast. And the SGPN app. Let's check it with the chat real quick. Justin saying, while everyone is whining, just enjoy the smell of victory. Dylan 40-1, and I don't know how, but they gave me Reddick 12-1. You better. Yeah, I saw you that you cashed out on that one, Justin.
Yeah, good call there. That's maybe we'll talk about that. But yeah, there's you potentially may have to challenge if you've got Denny Hamlin bets because, you know, at the end of the TV broadcast, they weren't necessarily showing it, and it took a little while for the NASCAR app to update, but they had reported on TV that Denny finished second. That is what the results say. Places like DraftKings are going to argue we go with the results at the time of the podium presentation. Well, at that time, TV already said he was being scored as second place, so argue it in that case, I think, if you can. So yeah, but we want your thoughts coming in the chat on all of this, because yeah, it was absolutely wild, as Brian says. Brian Twining checking in. What's good, gents? That was absolutely wild. I had everyone in the airport bar watching at the end. Hell yeah, there you go.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad this was a night race, Rod, because
Yes.
if you follow me at all, I was in Boston this weekend. We flew back today. I literally walked in like 15 minutes before the drop of the green flag into the house, got sat down, and yeah, that was just great. So man, what a night of racing. We have so much to talk about.
Yes, we do. And so let's get right to this, because obviously this is the biggest elephant in the room. The Cup race finished just a few hours ago. We're all riding off of the high of several different things over, Cody, not the least of which the finish. But let's just rewind it a little bit back, right? We introduced the tires, the tier of tires, right? We had the soft tires, we had the hard, the prime tires, Cody. I
what
love
a success.
Yes, absolute success. The primes and the softs.
Here goes the camera thing again.
Oh, you're glitching, buddy. That's why if you're listening on the podcast, you have no idea what we're talking about. But
yeah, the tire thing was an absolute huge success, right? We didn't really North Wilkesboro was so hard to tell, because you get the combination of, the stages are shorter, we got to make mandatory pit stops, new surface, doesn't wear the tires. This was the perfect place to put it in. Richmond and the short track package in general has been struggling. Things have been rough. This was not that. This played out perfectly. Suarez and McDowell roll the dice early, pays off big time. People start taking notes. Then we see different people trying it at different times throughout the race. And for people like Suarez, it paid off to be the first one to get it done, right? He gets that track position. They hold on to it. They don't lose it later. Now, maybe bites him a little bit on the last leg of things, right, where he doesn't have tires on that last stop. But that was part of the strategy, right? And we kind of saw that play out throughout the day, and that was really good. So I think that was a massive, massive success. Props to NASCAR for trying it, making it work, and I think that we've got something there that's going to continue to help us going forward, because that was a great thing.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the most masterful performance of the tire packages, that has to be Daniel Suarez. He's finished 10th on the day, officially on the NASCAR site. He's officially 10th in that. I don't know if that's the official results, but I will say
everything's official now because tech is over. So
this is true. But to take his starting position, right, and turn it into a 10th, he started 21st. And to be able to use those tires to his advantage. And we saw guys unlapping themselves on these reds. So, I mean, I for one, am a giant fan. I love the wrench that it throws into it, because I said it, I think, on the DFS episode when we were talking about it. All strategy is good strategy, in my opinion. If it makes you have to think, because you don't want cars to just go wide open around the track the whole time. There's no strategy in that. It's just the fastest car wins. And I know in NASCAR, it seems counterintuitive to say the fastest car shouldn't win, but it's the better driver with the equipment that they have. That's what, in my opinion, and the circumstances they're given. So when you give them these tire packages to try to figure it out, I mean, the fact that Daniel Suarez and his team were able to just say, screw it, we're just going to go for broke and have it work. Yeah, everybody's notebook was out, Cody. Everybody's notebook was out.
Oh yeah, they were frantically taking notes at that point. So that was great. Let's get to the good stuff, Rod.
Yes, indeed. All right. So Austin Dillon, this race looked like it was Austin Dillon's all the way to the end. Nobody was going to catch him. It was the fastest car out there, past Denny Hamlin, past Joey Logano, was on his way to a win.
Yeah. Let's highlight that, because that is an important part of this entire story. This wasn't and we're going to get into it more, right? But this wasn't late caution, happens to be there, dive bombs everybody, and just steals one. He was well on his way to earning this with a just not even strategy really didn't come into play. He qualified well, ran up front the entire day, was the fastest car at the end. His pit crew fucking killed it every single time, and he was earning this win just straight up. If it wasn't for fucking Ryan Preece running out of talent, then we're not even having this conversation.
Yeah, him and I was almost going to say Ricky Stenhouse again. We're like, oh, here we go, Ricky Stenhouse. But yeah,
pretty much, yeah.
Him and Ricky getting into it did not help it. But here's the thing. First of all, I want to say kudos to you, because if you don't listen to the DFS show, that is where we talked about Austin Dillon at length as far as being a good car. Cody brought him up.
Yeah, I wish I would have brought him up more on the betting episode. I just he was one of those where it's like kind of made the cutting room floor, but that's why we talk about him on the DFS show, because then it can make you maybe look at him more later in the week too as things pop up and he looks good in practice, he looks good in qualifying. So that's why you got to listen to all the shows every week, because we did talk about him a lot on the DFS episode. Yeah,
and there were some people in the Discord that were holding 40-1 tickets on him, or 44-1 tickets on him to win. That's why, because
we had quite a few people in the Discord that we had people that are upset with the finish that had bets on Austin Dillon. So hey, that's how it goes.
Yeah. So the caution where we hadn't had a caution for cause.
That was the only caution for cause, wasn't it?
That was it.
Yeah, with what 5-6 laps to go.
Yeah.
Oh man, it had been such a good race and everything was playing out so well. Like, you had different storylines throughout the day. It goes into the night, obviously things kind of change. You get all of this, and then that one late caution kind of just throws this whole curveball into everything. JDK saying Preece forgot to flip the switch on his talent tank. I think that tank was empty, has been for a while, and that played out well there.
Yeah. So then we go to overtime. Joey Logano jumps out to the lead, kind of gets around both Hamlin and AD, and then AD gets around Hamlin, and then AD decides he can't get to Joey, to Joey, and then just sends it into turn. What was it? Turn 3, right at the end of that one. Turn 2. It was one of those turns.
It was going into 3. He sends it and gets Joey. Then he comes down and gets Denny as Denny's passing him for the lead, and he squeaks through and wins the race. I got a question for you, Rod. Okay, there's 4 races left in the regular season. I'm 32nd place in the points. 0 chance of making the points, the playoffs on points. What do I have to do? How can I, 32nd in points and well out of the race, how can I make the playoffs?
What
do I have to do, Rod? What do I have to do to get into the playoffs?
Wreck your mom to win a championship. That's
go back and listen to the intro.
Ashley, I just want to say cheers. I'm sharing a beer with you too. Listen.
No beer for me, Rod.
You had enough.
I had a lot of beer this weekend. Oh my goodness. When the beers are free all weekend, it goes down pretty quickly.
Yeah, Cody was in Boston with Sam Adams this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time looking at beer tomorrow when I go back to work. So, it was rough, but
indeed. Okay, here's the thing. I want to share with you what I feel like. But I do not want to cram myself into the space that it would take in order to do that. Therefore, you got to wait till after the break, and then I will come back and share with you everything that I have to think about this particular finish. So let's first tell you about Underdog Fantasy. If you go 8-0 in Pick'em, you can win 325 times your entry. We're not even beating around the bush. We're just coming straight out of the box, telling you to go 8-0 to win 325 times your entry. It's that simple. Or you can play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball Mania. It's live now with $15 million in prizes. And if all of that wasn't enough for you, Underdog just launched their season-long college football projections, higher and lower for your favorite college football players. You can also use specials and boost on all your flex entries. Totally going to use ours when we lay out all of our Underdog picks for you later on this week. So go sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. Okay, so allow me to say this.
Yes, let's hear your thoughts, Rod.
I understand that not just in racing, but several sports along the way, there is a gentleman's or gentle person's, whatever, agreement, right, on the ways, and it's society at large, right? We have this unwritten rule and code of how we're to conduct ourselves, right? If you even want to go further back, chivalry, how you were supposed to conduct yourself as a knight, as an upstanding person, right? As somebody with honor.
I saw a guy this weekend, Rod, not to get too far off topic, but
Sure.
we're sitting in the bar having drinks. It's pouring rain in Boston, and look outside, and this couple is standing underneath of a tent that's out there like in the street for the farmer's market, and he's holding the umbrella over her head under the tent.
Chivalry is not
Who
dead.
says chivalry is dead?
Chivalry is not dead.
That was funny. But anyways,
So when you start to dissect these unwritten rules of how to conduct yourself, right? And you carry it into sports, a move like what Austin Dillon did today to win the race, that was without honor. All right. But, and a huge but with this one, right? You have to win these battles. And to me, it's like, in fact, I just watched the Game of Thrones episodes where like, you don't fight with honor, right? And then he points to so the guy just killed him, right? He killed the guy, sent him off into the Erie, and he says, and you do not fight with honor, sir. And he's like, yeah, but he did, and pointed down to the dead body. So like, who's right in this situation? The one that wins or the one that does it the right way and still loses? So in my opinion, this was a move without honor, but you got to win the mission. You got to win the battle. And Austin Dillon, whether you like the way he did it or not, he won the battle. Now I will say, I'm sorry, just one last thing to wrap it up. It will not be without its consequences. And that is for Austin Dillon to decide in that moment. Is he willing to pay the price for what he did?
Yeah. And yeah, you're going to pay the price, but this is what NASCAR wants. The rule is I'm 32nd place in points. The only way I can get into the playoffs and wreck your mom to win a championship is to win the fucking race. What do you want me to do? You want me to settle for second place, be the first loser? No, I'm going to go win the fucking race. Like, that's what this is set up for. Let's not overreact to this. This doesn't happen every single week. This isn't Nashville. We didn't have 5 overtimes. We don't need to change the overtime rule because how many times has it happened since Nashville? How many times did it happen before Nashville? It didn't. How many times has this happened in the playoff era where somebody's just got, how many times has somebody been in position? It doesn't happen all the time. It's not ruining the sport. NASCAR is the number one trending thing on Twitter right now. Guess what all the sports shows are going to be talking about tomorrow? Guess what all the non-sports shows are going to be talking about tomorrow? This is fucking great for NASCAR. They love this shit. Everybody's going fucking crazy. Everybody's talking about it. It's amazing. He was the fastest fucking car on the night. That it's not like he just snuck up there. And even if he did just sneak up there, you have to go for the win. We're not here to not win races, Rod. Yeah, sure. Maybe it's an unwritten rule you don't wreck a guy. But how many times have people wrecked people for wins? That's it. And I was starting to listen to the teardown right before we got on this. And, I think it was Gluck was making the point, like, we've seen people, it's different. Like, he thinks the way that NASCAR is going to play this off by not penalizing him, or at least not to, taking the win away, is it's not a retaliatory wreck. He didn't hook him to retaliate. He hooked him going for the win, which is what we want. And if you've got the chance, Chris Buescher, it's all about the sticker on the window. You have these stickers. I don't have the sticker. Austin Dillon didn't have that sticker. Not all publicity is good publicity. Why not? Now, people are excited. They're going to look at this and watch this. Stop being stuck up and, you have to race like a gentleman. Like, what? Let's get some fucking F1 stewards out here. We can't get within 10 feet of each other. Let's go back to the Richmond race this spring where we couldn't pass and we just followed the leader. And all of you were fucking bitching about how boring short track racing is, and NASCAR's so boring, and there's no passing, and this car sucks. We don't have any horsepower. Shut the fuck up. This was exciting. This is what we want. We wouldn't have this system if it wasn't here. Joey Logano's fine. Denny Hamlin's fine. What Joey Logano did on pit road, almost running people over, burning out, way more fucking dangerous than Austin Dillon. If there's any penalties, it should be to Joey Logano. You want to penalize Austin Dillon? Fine. You want to penalize me? Fine me, Rod. Take away points. Take away money. Suspend me next week. Guess what happens if you suspend me next week? I get a waiver, and in 3 weeks, I'm in the fucking playoffs. You have to wreck this guy to win. Why would you not wreck him to win? If you don't wreck him to win, you're a fucking loser. What? Go be a fucking winner. Austin Dillon, we keep talking about it. He's probably retiring soon. This might be it. This might be the last time he gets to victory lane. His wife and kids are there. His daughter hasn't been to victory lane. Why? If you aren't willing to wreck your mom to win a championship, as Tony Stewart said, then you're a fucking loser, and you don't have a winner's mentality. You don't have a champion's mentality. Go out there and take what's yours. Now, that being said, next week on lap 1, should I go drive through the field, spin everybody out, wreck the whole field, and win? No, because that's not the fucking point. This was down to the wire. You had a fast car. This is your opportunity to get it done. And even though you've had a shitty season, you haven't led a single lap, you're 32nd in points, we have this one way, the golden ticket. It's right here. Come and get it. And he went and fucking took it like a fucking man. I love it. It's great. And I had money on Denny Hamlin, a lot of money, to win this race, and I lost it. I don't fucking care. That was so exciting. One of the best finishes we've seen in, well, not really. We've actually had some really good finishes this year. But this was great. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, and look, the chat's blowing up. I can't get to everybody, you guys.
Yeah, I love
this is. We'll get here. I'm gonna hit.
And he should have won. Like, that's the thing too. Yeah. It's not the guy who just, that was the only lap he led, and he did it dirty. Like, he was the guy.
So okay, this is what there's a couple of things I wanted to hit on too quickly right here. Brian talking about all this is avoided if the back markers don't mess it all up. I mean, listen, that they should not have been playing around like that in front of the leaders.
What are you doing for? Yeah,
they were already so far down.
If Bubba's 3 points ahead of Ross and Ross is passing him, should you just wreck him instead of racing him? What do you mean instead of racing him? Austin Dillon raced them all night, was better than them, and this was it. This was the last chance. So yeah, if Ross Chastain's in front of me at Darlington, and I know that I need to beat him by a couple spots, he's getting the motherfucking bumper. Guess what Ross Chastain did? He put it on the fucking wall and rode around to get into the next thing, because that's what you do. You go. No, you don't just wreck a guy to wreck a guy. But if this is it, this is the last chance you have to go take it.
Yep. My brother checking in saying our Hollowed St. Dale Sr. wrecked a ton of guys in his career, and he was celebrated for it. He was the intimidator. And then one last thing I wanted to talk about real quick through the chat as we continue to get on there. He injured Denny's shoulder by right rear. I will tell you this.
You know what? That's it. NASCAR should be done. It's too dangerous. Fine.
No, listen.
Let's all go home. Somebody might get hurt.
Shut the fuck up. Austin Dillon did intentionally get into Joey, but the Denny Hamlin hook was just collateral damage. He was not trying to hook Denny. Yeah. That was just out of him losing control.
And NASCAR's already told us that hooking people on a short track is different than hooking people on a mile and a half. Look at the history of this year.
Yeah. But look, again, all in all, however you look at it, there's a couple of things to take away from this whole thing, right? You have to play within the confines of the system that you have. NASCAR does not have a rule against what Austin Dillon did. Therefore, it is not illegal. It is not immoral. Is it distasteful to a lot of people? Sure. But how many times have you played a NASCAR video game and been like, you know what? Screw this. I'm getting right into the back of this guy, right? And moving him out of the way. That's how you make their enemies on the NASCAR game. And that's how you accumulate all those enemy points. And everybody's trying to wreck you for the rest of the season. You make your decisions early on how you want to do this. And Austin, I'm sure, was pissed off that the caution came out and that he wasn't able to just win this one outright. So he was like, dude, and he even said it. This is the best chance I had. This is the closest to the front I've been. And I know King said, I know that the King said that he was, I can't even find it anymore, but yeah, I get it. I get it. But he had the best car that he had. And the fact that he had to restart, it's crazy. So, I mean,
does moral win you races, Andrew? I'm curious. And King, you're bookmarking this when Ty punts somebody you don't want to hear about. If this was Ty Gibbs, if this was Daniel Hemrick, good for him. Go win the race. Now, should Ty Gibbs wreck his teammate to eliminate his teammate from getting to the championship?
I think we had before, right?
That's a little bit of a different story. Ty wasn't, if that would have been his teammate and Ty needs to get a Jones out of the way to make it, yeah, fucking move that guy. Like, But the way Ty did it before that's a different story. But I don't care who it is. You go. It is set up this way. If they didn't want it to be this way, change the fucking rules. It's set up this way. Yeah. This is how they want it.
Yeah. And again, honestly,
and by the way, I don't think Ty got penalized for that either. So
no, he didn't.
Good for them. So maybe we're not penalizing people for wrecking to win. It's fine. And again, Ty had every right to. You wreck him to win. Go for it. I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, I don't care who it was that wrecks this. You have to.
I love Myron NASCAR.
It is. It's so funny because it's like NASCAR fans and not. This isn't targeted at anybody in the chat. But I love all of you guys. You know that. You should know that. But
at this point,
people just like people they always have to get. We have to be mad about something every week, Rod. If this would have been another follow the leader race, we'd be bitching about there was 4 seats empty in the stands, and we used to put 600 million people in Richmond before we got rid of a section of stands, and it sucks, and we couldn't pass. These cars suck. We can't pass. Nobody can ever pass. But we got to bitch about something every week. Shut the fuck up and enjoy. Like, this was so exciting. I was literally jumping off my couch screaming, oh my God, Denny's going to win. Oh my God, Reddick's going to win. Oh my God, Austin Dillon just won. He fucking did. Like, how are you not entertained if you can't enjoy this? Oh man, I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
And that's a different story, King. Like, maybe you shouldn't be able to lock yourself in for 30 seconds. That's the rules. You have to play by the set of rules given to you. This is the set of rules. This is what we asked for, and this is what you get. You said if you win, you're in. Go win whatever it takes. That's what Austin Dillon did.
So again, and really just to get back to Cody's point about going out and winning and not wanting to finish second. If you haven't been that close all season long, if this is your biggest chance that you've ever had, and you know that you probably won't have another shot again, yeah, of course you're gonna drive in a blind rage. And I've said this for the last 3 years now. Like, there's road rage, and then there's stressful road rage like what you have out there. Like, dude, if I get slighted by some Prius that drives in front of me, I get pissed off and I want to run the dude over, right? I want to finish first in the game of let's get off the freeway, right? This guy's trying to get into the playoffs of the biggest circuit that NASCAR has, and somebody's standing in his way, and he can actually do something about it and not have to pay insurance. Yeah, I will tell you that I wish that he wouldn't have had to do that. I wish there was not an overtime, because I really do wish that his ability to have passed everybody on the track would have been the story and not this. However, what Cody brings up is true. Everybody's going to be talking about this now. This is going to be the story.
And yeah, like that's the thing is like we're Ryan Preece running out of talent away from, wow, look at Austin Dillon. Look at this performance. This car was so fast. We didn't think RCR had it in them. They come out, they put together a fast car and a win. And King, I know you hate. He's probably mad because Ty's closer to the bubble now. I get it, man. I'm a Ty fan, you know I am, but Dillon saw an opportunity and decided to take it. It's set up that way. It should be set up that way. That is another conversation for another day. Maybe we change the rule. Maybe we put back that you got to be top 30 in points. Maybe we don't make it where you win and you're in, but those are the set of rules we're given to play with. You have to take advantage of it.
But riddle me this, Batman and everybody else out there that wants to riddle me this, right? If that wasn't Austin Dillon, if that was Hamlin making that move on Austin Dillon later in the race,
you mean if Hamlin over aggressive on Larson at Kansas, or if Hamlin gets over aggressive on Larson at Pocono, or if Joey Logano takes out Matt Kenseth at Kansas, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's one of these guys, like if it's
everybody hates Austin Dillon for whatever reason.
All I know is that this in the litany of podcast, what you need for podcast material, this more than delivered. So I loved it because we just spent about 25 minutes just going all over this part of the race. One aspect of the race. It happened in 20 seconds, and we spent 20 minutes talking about it. So I love it. I'm here for it. We've got bets to go over, though, and we'll weave in more of the discussion about all of that as we start to go over the bets. But before we do any of that, please allow me to introduce you to Rhythm. Football season is here, and the college football season and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around it. Or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists, and Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1, college football Week 0. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret that you'll feel if you wreck your best friend to win the Office Survivor pool, but you didn't even wreck anybody to enter the Circa Survivor contest. That is sheer regret. Now you see where I'm getting at? You think Austin Dillon wouldn't have regretted not doing what he had to do to win the Circa Survivor Millions? Well, don't have that same remorse. But if you don't have a trip booked for Vegas yet before football, Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out, hang with Ryan and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through August the 24th. Use promo code SGP15 to save 15% on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. You can go sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with our own proxy. That is proxy.footballcontest.com. You can save $50 with promo code SGP. Okay, so Cody, there were bets that were made on this, right?
Were there?
Well, I will tell you right now, we can breeze through this set of bets because this set of bets was not
Can
very
we just talk about the Truck Series bets? Because those were the good ones.
I would
I'm
love
telling you guys, if you're not listening to the Truck Series pod every week,
oh my God.
you're missing out on the money.
I want to know if we won the fantasy contest, but we'll get there in a second. If it appears to you,
I can't imagine we didn't win it.
yeah, there was a lot.
Mostly because we do every week, but
That's true.
our cars did pretty good.
Yeah. If it appears that I am excessively warm, it is excessively warm in this thing. And the fact that we just got heated for the last 20 minutes has raised my core
We
temperature.
did get heated. And I do love all you listeners, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion, even if you're wrong. It's okay. It happens. But
well, that's the other thing. Hold on. I also wanted to say this too, because like you had brought it up.
Well, yeah, go ahead. And then
Yeah. We know that, you can always dig your heels in on one side of the thing. But what I love about this community and what I love about everybody in Discord is that we know that we can feverishly fight with each other like siblings, but it's all love. Like we don't, it's no personal.
We're going to celebrate cashing bets next week. So it's
exactly. So
yeah, but and to that point too, I mean, yes, I'm on the side of you have to do it, but I also do understand the side of, it does that gentleman's agreement that you talked about at the beginning, right? It does cross that line. I just personally believe that given the set of circumstances we're given to do this thing, you got to cross that line. If you got to cross that line again, don't go. And Joey Logano shouldn't go dump Austin Dillon on lap 1 next week. Now, if he gets the opportunity to rough him up later, you can do it, right? Yeah, but again,
does he leave him a full lane or does he leave him 3/4 of a lane?
But,
like that's
yeah, but don't go right hook him at Michigan. First of all, that's a lot more dangerous. Yeah, and second of all, he had to do what he had to do. He didn't have that sticker. You got to get the sticker. It's a special sticker, Rod.
Yes, it is. It's a special sticker.
Speaking of special stickers, Denny Hamlin gets a special sticker this week.
Woo-hoo!
He is officially second place. Oh, this could be a messy one, Rod, because some books are paying out top Toyota to Tyler Reddick. There's all sorts of stuff going on. So again, you're gonna have to check your books rules. A lot of them are, like I know DraftKings. I think maybe FanDuel does it too, where it's we pay at the podium presentation what the results are at that time, right? So somebody gets DQ'd in tech later on, doesn't matter. They pay at that time. But the TV broadcast had said before that time that Denny was being scored in second when they were interviewing him. So I would argue that. Go find the clip. It's on social media. Send it to them if they're not trying to pay you. But I did have Denny Hamlin top 3 plus 170. Gave that out because I thought he was going to win, but we knew he was going to be in the mix because he fucking owns this track. It should be called Denny Hamlin Raceway starting next season because he's so fucking good here. And he was good all day. Top 3 car all day. This was right on money. Plus 170. This one did cash.
Yeah, indeed. Denny was just going to be 124 laps led.
Yeah, and to Brian's point, how do you score Denny second and Joey 19th despite cashing numerous versus Logano bets? You simply can't score it that way. Well, I think it's because Denny continued on, right? He was wounded, but he continued and got back to the line, which is like their sort of rule is like if you can continue at a reasonable speed, you'll hold that spot or whatever it is. And Joey was obviously trashed in the wall and backwards, so he didn't continue at that speed. But Denny, yeah, he got hooked or whatever, but he kind of, I think he like flipped around and kept going. So, and again, it depends on when they hit the caution button. Sometimes that's before the light. The caution was for Joey. So, yeah, I don't know. But
yeah, so you can't keep your spot if that caution is for you.
Right.
So, all right. Yeah. So that was definitely one. We knew it. We knew right from the get-go that Denny was 124 laps led, 2 more than the next biggest jump in there, which was Christopher Bell, who led 122. So it was definitely Denny's day. Was not Noah Gragson's day. Had him as a top 10. I don't even want to talk about it. Like there was no point that Noah Gragson looked like he could be. He started 16th and then dropped like a rock and went a lap down, and that was it. So I don't want to talk about Noah Gragson. Let's move on to your next bet.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk much about Justin Haley either. I had him to win Group D over on Caesars at plus 310. That was over Ryan Preece, over Eric Jones, over Ricky Stenhouse. He does beat Stenhouse, and that was it. And the other guy in that group was Austin Dillon. So
yeah, they didn't win that.
Haley definitely didn't catch this one. Ever since Haley kind of got failed multiple times in Tech, I don't remember what that race was, but things have seemingly turned a corner for that team. So maybe whatever advantage they had kind of slipped away. It hasn't been qualifying well, hasn't been running well. I thought maybe coming back to the short track would fix that, but probably going to back off on the Haley for a little bit here.
Yeah, I think you do have to kind of cool down a little bit. Myron talking about Gragson and Briscoe top 10 bets died in flames as well. Listen,
yeah, I had grabbed some Briscoe top 10 and top 5 this morning, and
Cody, what do you think, without looking, was a place differential between Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher?
Were these guys in the race? I don't recall seeing them, but I'm going to guess that they were finished within 2 spots of each other.
Brad Keselowski finished 16th. Chris Buescher finished 18th, neither of which were inside of the top 10. However, I will say that Buescher had a top 10 run going until he didn't. Brad would have never held up his end of the bargain. This guy was trash.
Yeah, what? RFK I don't even know. Like, I remember Buescher was speeding, but other than that, I don't really remember.
And that didn't even wreck his day because it wasn't that good to begin with. So, yeah, these bets didn't cash, and they weren't going to cash all day. So,
yeah,
would have been a lot of chaos that needed at the end for this to cash, and it didn't.
Yeah. Anybody seen Josh Berry? Do we know what happened to him? No idea.
He was
Josh
so
Berry.
damn good for a little while. Like he qualified good.
Yeah, and I don't know if the nighttime kind of got to them or what, but top 5 plus 400. He comes out, qualifies really well, looks good to practice, and you're like, all right, here we go. The number gets absolutely tanked. And it's like, okay, looking good, but just he didn't hold on to it, and like he kind of slipped back right at the start. He was all the way back to 10th by the end of stage 1, and then never really got any better than that throughout the night, which was a little bit unfortunate. Also, Kyle Busch 4-1. I mean, that was for a top 5. He finishes 12th. That's not that bad for the number, and I wasn't wrong that an RCR car was going to be good. Will you give me credit for that, Rod?
Just picked the I definitely.
I just picked the wrong one.
Well, listen,
wow, that is actually impressive, JDK. Ford was 14th through 21st with nobody in between them. Wow, that is a lot of blue ovals in one group.
We're about to talk about manufacturers later on because I got a bone to pick with Ford and that blue oval. But to Kyle Busch's defense, the dude had to literally cut his cast off while he was driving. So I'm just saying that was not, That's not normal.
Yeah. If I would have known he had a broken hand or broken wrist, basically, I might not have bet on the guy. Geez, tell us earlier in the week than on Sunday morning.
Wow, that's the undisclosed upper body injury. We have no idea what it is.
That's why we need injury reports.
Exactly. Steven's saying, so you're saying my Chastain championship, it might as championship ticket be toilet paper? Hey, there's still some
there's some hope, but you're gonna be sweating that one to get to the playoffs for sure.
Right now, it's Charmin toilet paper. In a couple of weeks, if he doesn't win, then it's that military style sandpaper type toilet paper that you use. God. And I
have PTS from that toilet paper.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's see. What do we got next? Was it me on next one? Oh, yeah. Hey, guess what?
Tyler real quick to Nico checking in from down under. Hey, Nico. Feels like Trackhouse one of his best days in a while. Kind of overshadowed like Daniel Suarez. What a fucking day. I mean, led a ton of laps. We talked a little bit earlier about his strategy, but I mean, just absolutely great. And then obviously overshadowed by the rest of this. I did love Chastain's comments after, like basically saying, so glad I wasn't involved. Like finally one of these contentious things, and it wasn't me in there.
Yeah, no, it's he's like, I'm just glad I wasn't involved. Like I'm here so I don't get fined. But my next bet was Reddick as a top 5 car. That was plus 220. Remember, I was telling you that was a ridiculous number for Tyler Reddick to be a top 5 car. Tyler Reddick ended up 3rd on the day. He would have still been a top 5 car even if Joey Logano would have been.
Excuse me, Rod. Could you please address him by his proper name? That's 2024 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Tyler Reddick.
Yes.
Those tickets keep looking good, baby. Another great finish. Soon as those odds drop for Michigan, friends, go place those bets because he is going to get punched down real fast.
Yeah, no, keep those ones going while you can.
So, but yeah, this was a great call by you. I kind of went against you a little bit on this when you gave it out. Like he hadn't been real good here, but man, they were on fire going into the break. Gets married. And it continued here. Twining cashed the top 3 plus 450 for him. Great day for 23-11, right? Reddick and Bubba both right there, ready to pounce on that win. If Dylan's not able to collect it up there after getting into Denny, Tyler would have ended up being the winner. So they were right there and looked really good. I had a couple longer shot top 10s. Justin Haley at 8-1. We already talked about him. He sucked. Todd Gilliland at 10-1, or at 7-1 rather, for the top 10. Carson Hocevar, by the way, shout out to him. Best career finish in 8th place. Gilliland recovers for 17th even after speeding. If he wouldn't have been speeding, this one would have been alive. The 17th was the stat I gave out, Rod. I don't remember how many top 17s in a row he has outside of Pocono. This is why you keep your paper notes. I have the trusty notebook here. I'm going to quickly see if I can find it. So, yeah, in 10 of the last 11 going into this, he'd been 17th or better. Now we're going to increase that stat when I talk about it next week to 11 of the last 12. He's been in the top 17 or better.
Yeah, it's again, for me, this was like I was watching this, and at one point, like Gilliland was around, and I was like, oh, and then it wasn't. So, and it's gone. So, yeah, unfortunately.
I think Ashley's a newer listener. She says, poor Rod keeps getting cut off. Yeah.
Yeah, where have you been?
We're 475 episodes into this, Ashley. I cut Rod off all the time, so it's a good thing he puts up with me.
If you want to hear more of me, go back and listen to episodes 1 through 5 before Cody got comfortable.
Before I got comfortable. What is going on with my fucking camera, Rod? Jesus.
It knows you're cutting me off. That's what it
is. They're trying to infiltrate us. They don't like my Austin Dillon take.
They don't. All right, I'm going to gloss over my next 3 because my next 3 were all ridiculously horrible. I had Larson as a top 3 car. I swear to God, like I don't understand. Like Larson was doing Larson things, but he was never going to be a top 5 or top 3 car. So done with that. That was sad because I think they should have played strategy better than they did. I think they were just happy to ride around. They're in the playoffs already. They didn't want to get in the fracas. So Larson was just not a thing.
Like they tried that different strategy at one point, which I think was kind of their shot, and it just didn't work out. So
it wasn't. Yeah, they tried the one thing when they could have tried $1.5 million.
Yeah, great point by Brian. HMS was shit. I mean, I jumped on Byron this morning because he was 25-1, and it was like, I mean, Larson was the best finishing one in 7th, but Elliott 9th, and then Byron I was thinking they were just playing around and testing stuff, but I'm starting to get a little concerned now, Rod. Like we're getting into crunch time. 13th place for him, and I don't think Alex Bowman was even in the race. So
you know what the problem was, though, and I'll tell you, Brian, because I know that HMS actually had 3 of their 4 cars inside of the top. Well, I'd say fifth to 10th. So inside the top 10, but flirting with the top 5. But it was just everybody else's strategy was all over the place. So like there was no one solid plan for everybody, and that's kind of what happened. Which leads me to, well, I'll let you go, Cody, because I was gonna. You actually almost hit this one.
Yeah, and Steven bringing up. Did we mention MTJ blowing up? We didn't. I think it was King earlier that had mentioned that Toyota needs to figure their shit out. Toyota is going to cost some people a shot at the championship if they don't get this figured out quickly, because there have been a lot of engine problems lately, and specifically only in Toyotas. So Steven's saying that I'm straight max headrooming out. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but maybe I'll let Rod talk in a sec, and I'll try and fix my camera. But
no, we just gotta let the bosses buy you a new camera.
Yes, but also Martin Truex Jr. If you've listened to the show for a little while, it was a joke previously that he was retired. We would not touch him. I think I'm going to set him back on that shelf and allow him to gracefully exit into retirement this year, Rod, because I'm done with that. So,
yeah.
I had Ford winning manufacturer plus 310, and then Austin Dillon had to fuck it up for me. Oh man, had my shot right there. That was
he
really
killed 2 of your tickets on that last lap.
He did actually, and I'm still defending him because that's how much I believe in go win if you have the opportunity, given the set of rules we have. But yeah, I mean, Blaney ends up being the top finishing Ford at 11th place. No Fords in the top 10. Obviously, a little deceiving because of the Joey Logano thing. He was right there in the mix. But they weren't going to win if we didn't get a caution. And they didn't win because of the events at the end, obviously. But yeah, this was just kind of, again, trying to cover yourself. I wasn't sure which Fords were going to be the good ones. So instead of picking one, well, I did pick one, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but kind of cover all of them at the plus 310. And yeah, unfortunately didn't hit.
Yeah. I like my next one. Okay. So early on in the race, this was killing it. Why? Because I had under 3.5 Chevys inside of the top 10. When you looked, especially like the end of stage 1 and the beginning of stage 2, and through a lot of most of stage 2, to be honest with you, there were only up to 3 Chevys inside of the top 10. It was Larson, it was Elliott, and then it was any given one between Byron, and then Suarez was in there as well. But damn it all, if at the end of the day we did not have actually 5, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Chevys inside of the top 10. Freaking believable that Chevy caught themselves. It was Dillon that won the race. Then it was Chastain, then Larson, Hocevar, Elliott, and Suarez. Those were the cars. So that's 5 of them. I can't count.
But what's crazy
this morning.
What's crazy is you were almost right, because we talked about how if HMS isn't on, going to be tough for Chevy, right? There's not a lot of Chevys that are great outside of HMS, and they suck. So, like, nailed that part of it, but you didn't see really Austin Dillon and Chastain and Hocevar and Suarez. Like, man, just
this goes to how exciting the tire strategies were and all of the things that made this a thing at the end of the race, right? Because if this would have not been for the tire strategy, we would have probably had Fords and Toyotas in the front, in the top 10, and only 3 Chevys at the end of it. So like I said, I may have lost that bet, but I am happy with the way that I lost it, because that meant that there was actually thinking going on rather than just foot to pedal, move around other cars.
Yeah, and I guess so. I was trying to think if anybody else was Joey Logano the only one who got shoved out of the top 10?
Yeah.
Because of that, yeah. So you still wouldn't have cashed it. But
no, because everybody,
yeah.
Chastain was up there still. Dillon was winning the race. Larson found his way back up there as well. Yeah.
Because that would have only kicked Suarez out of the top 10. So I guess. But Andrew's saying it's so weird. Austin won me money and I'm crushing him. He cost Cody money and he's praising him. But hey, that's how it goes. So
that's the way life is.
I did give out in the Discord, by the way. This is why you got to join the Discord. If you're not on the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. Get over there. Oh, that thing was going off after the finish of that race, right? Everybody sharing their
Still going
opinions. Yes, probably is still going off. But I dropped in there Denny Hamlin, top Toyota, and Ryan Blaney, top Ford. That was like 14-1 over on Caesars this morning. Caesars does pay by the official results, so that one will get paid for sure. So thank you, Austin Dillon, for helping me cash that one because he took Joey Logano out of the way. But outrights, Rod, I had Denny Hamlin 6-1 over on FanDuel early in the week. That number got shot throughout the week, and then obviously he starts on the pole, and I think he was down to 2-1 this morning. So it was great to get in on that early. It was the right call. He was the fastest car on the day until the end, where Austin Dillon took that mantle. But he was very good. He was in the mix, had a chance to win at the end there. That's all you're asking for. And obviously he doesn't get it done, but I think it was a good bet. I had Ryan Blaney at 13-1. He was kind of out to lunch for most of the day. I did think it was interesting when they took the tires late there, right? And he unlaps himself, kind of starts running through the field. Then you're like, well, this could work out for him. And it did work out as far as getting him better finish than where he'd been running, but wasn't good enough. Kyle Busch, 31-1. It was a pipe dream. Again, wrong RCR car.
But you said it, though, too. You said this was a pipe dream. You said that this was he's been so good on this track for so long.
I think that having that bet and then Austin Dillon winning proves that wasn't a bad bet because Kyle Busch has been good here in the past. I'm telling you, I've seen the little bit of speed that RCR has had lately. It's been there, and they just keep everything that can go wrong goes wrong, and it's not necessarily just because of the cars. They just get in bad positions or get wrecked or, whatever the case is. They've shown some speed. It's not a massive shock. I mean, it's a shock that Austin Dillon was good, right? But not that big of a massive shock of it because it just, we've actually seen some of it. So at 31-1, not a bad idea. Obviously, it ends up being his teammate, but I think that kind of reinforces why it was an okay bet to place.
Indeed. My Larson bet was not. So moving on. Definitely had no shot at winning this race at any point. So sorry that I gave it out. But let's move on to some happier times, Cody. That was Saturday night when the trucks took the racetrack at Richmond under the lights. I loved, and not just because of the outcome of this, I loved this race from start to finish. This race actually had so much going on in it, and there was so many opportunities for so many things to happen. In the end, I mean, I don't want to spoil alert for you if you haven't watched it yet, but holy time Majeski.
Funny you should mention that, Rod. All I saw was the last 20 laps on my phone in a bar. So you're gonna have to help walk me through this. But based on all the bets we cashed, I feel like this race went pretty good.
No, this race went exactly the way it was supposed to go for us, and there was a lot of great things. I mean, when we talk about the race with very little excitement, I mean, the cautions or the lack of cautions here, by the way, it was the Clean Harbor 250. There were 9 cautions, but a lot of those came at weird times. So, I mean, there was a decent amount of cautions, but by the same token, it was kind of a crazy thing where it just felt like the race just went by very quickly. But anyways, in the end, it was Ty Majeski picking up the win and doing it in a way that he had to keep coming back through the field. Like he was involved in an early, the piano fell, but he put that damn piano back together and started playing that thing like he was freaking Chopin. So, yeah, Ty Majeski wins this race. And we also had a lot of great other bets that cashed. So let's talk this through there, Cody.
Yeah, luckily we did survive the piano fall again. But I started the day out with Connor Zilich over Caden Honeycutt, minus 125. The point I made about Honeycutt was I thought he would be decent, but not great. 14th place finish. Kind of places that perfectly. But, Zilich got caught up in an accident. Again, I did miss that, so I'm not sure what happened there. Unfortunately, he wasn't super impressive. He was fairly slow in practice, 31st fastest, which wasn't great. He didn't qualify well, starting in 27th. So I don't know if this was just a case of you run with the squirrels, get your nuts cracked, or what the deal was here.
It was a hybrid. He actually used some strategy to get around the front. And the broadcast was talking about him a lot. He was fighting around inside of the top 10. He was not necessarily always in front of Caden Honeycutt because Honeycutt did qualify well and ran pretty well through most of the race. So I don't know that this one would have ever cashed, but it was close in a couple of spots for Zilich to try to get there. But yeah, the late crash completely took him out. That took a lot of cars, a lot of trucks out. Rather, it's the 7 and the 32 both went out, but there was a wreck earlier that kind of made that a little bit of a thing too. So yeah, I mean, Zilich felt like he should have been better given what he did, and there was a spot there where he could have been better, but he didn't. All right, my first bet was our shifties, baby. Tay over William Sawalich. Hey, shout out to William Sawalich, though. That one truck actually did look pretty good. He qualified 5th, right, which he actually qualified better than Taylor. Taylor qualified in 7th, but Sawalich had a pretty good truck all week long. He even led 3 laps in this entire thing, but you cannot stop Taylor Gray. You can only hope to contain him. He finishes 3rd in this race, led 5 laps along the way, and it was impressive, too, because he worked his way up to 3rd by the end of that race. He wasn't going to – I don't think he would have finished 3rd by the end of the race. That 17 truck ended the first stage 2nd, and then the 9th place at the end of stage 2. Had to work his way back up, but this one actually was in danger of not cashing because Sawalich looked pretty good for a better part of the race. He was with the top dogs, and Taylor was kind of running in the mid pack. At one point, he was around his brother at the 15th, 16th spot. But God bless that 17 team for being able to get it done and for him to find his way back up to the front. So I got Taylor Gray over William Sawalich, and that one hit.
Yeah, Taylor just keeps getting it done, and I had him as a long shot winner. I wish I would have had a top 5 or a top 3 on him. Unfortunately, did not. I had Connor Hall top 5 plus 750. Rod, if we could only get the top 10s. We talked about this. He gets it done, 10th place. Look, I will take a 10th place finish out of a guy that is plus 750 for a top 5 each and every time. Do not mind that. It means it was the right bet. He was going to be in the mix at the end. He showed up. We tossed out the Connor and Connor parlay with Zilich and Hall as well at plus 1460. And as much as Zilich was the much shorter odds and higher DFS salary and all that, Hill showed up and looked good. Ends up with a 10th place finish, or Hall rather, with the 10th place finish. And that's what I was hoping for out of a late model guy like that in a good truck. Gets it done. And unfortunately, obviously the bet doesn't cash, but was the right track. And yeah, I like it.
I love the fact that Hall was 21st. He started 21st and managed to get in the top 10. And like you said, we need truck top 10s because that is exactly what we had said. If we had truck top 10s, we'd have hammered that one. We'd have probably hammered the Zilich top 10. That wouldn't have cashed, but even still, like, I would have felt good placing a Connor Zilich top 10 as well. My next bet involved Connor Zilich. It also involved Caden Honeycutt and Lane Riggs. I had Grant Enfinger to beat all of them in Group A over on Bet 365 at plus 230. He did exactly that. Grant Enfinger finished 4th in this race, and damn it all, if he did not have the opportunity, led 98 laps of this race. 98 laps. Oh, my God. I mean, he won stage 2. He was leading toward the end till Ty Majeski passed him with 8 laps to go. Oh, it was so very frustrating for all of that. And then Christian Eckes and Taylor Gray passed him there at the end as well. He was just falling off, right? His whole game got shot there at the end. But Enfinger won Group A. He still beat Zilich, Riggs, and Honeycutt. So cash that bet.
Yeah, this was a great call by you. We were big on Enfinger, and he showed up once again. Got it done. Andrew with some bad luck on the top 5.
Oh, God.
6th, 7th, 8th, and 10th for his top 5 bets. So, yeah, I would kill for top 10s.
Please,
luckily, Austin Dillon had some balls for you and cashed a bunch of bets to make up for it on Sunday. So there's that. Lane Riggs, Rod, our short track guy, gets it done again. Top 5 of plus 250. Same number we hit it on at IRP. Finished in 5th there. Finishes in 5th again. He sure loves 5th place on short flat tracks. Gets it done. I mean, that was the whole thing with this guy. This is where he's good. Next time the trucks are out, it's Milwaukee Mile. Probably going to look at him again if they're offering it again. When we get back to the big tracks, we're going to turn around and fade him because that's what you're doing with Lane Riggs at this point in time. He is good on these short tracks. This is his game. Plus 250 is a great number for a top 5. And he was there, he was there throughout the day. I mean, he finished top 5 in both stages after starting in 4th place. So he ran up there. I mean, I was keeping up with the lineup and stuff I was watching on my phone the best I could, but at least monitoring the scoreboard. And he was really up there throughout the entire day. And man, he had a chance to Austin Dillon it there at the end a little bit on that last restart even. And didn't go in there as hard as Austin Dillon did. But I thought maybe we were going to see it, Rod. But the top 5 cashes at plus 250.
Yeah, and Lane Riggs was strong all day long, so good for Lane Riggs. We called it. You said exactly what it was. That 38 truck knows its way around Richmond. It has muscle memory, so Lane Riggs driving it was very lucky. Your bet cash at the expense of mine. And I told you the same thing earlier, too. I wanted Ankrum top 10. Plus 450 for a top 5. The only reason that I even suggested that is because I knew he'd finish inside the top 10, and I would have rather had that bet instead. Tyler Ankrum was top 5 for a better part of where he was top 5, but he finishes in 6th place. So, womp, womp, womp.
But again, plus 450, I mean, the number is right? It was the right bet to make. Obviously, if we have the top 10 options, we would have done it. We got to do the best we can with what the books give us. Again, we're going to give out a lot of top 5s. They're not all going to hit, but if you hit some of them, that's what you're looking for. Rod, Christian Eckes, top 3 finish. Christian Eckes finished 3rd place, or in the top 3, rather, this week, last week, the week before, and the week before. 5 top 3 finishes in a row for Christian Eckes. Man just keeps getting it done. Minus 120. Again, not the sexiest bet in NASCAR, but in the Truck Series, if we've learned anything, you got to go with the less sexy bets. I mean, the Truck Series is almost similar to betting on F1 right now, where like you just got to take some of the lower odds stuff and go with it. But it's fairly reliable, and as you can kind of tell as we're walking through these, like not everything's going to go perfect all the time. Obviously, we know that's why it's called gambling. But Christian Eckes just continues to fucking show up. No matter what the size track is, he's loving these short tracks. He's looking good. Obviously, he led a lot of laps and had a shot to win this even. But it was a little bit of a sweat at the end there, but keeps it in the top 3, gets it done, minus 120.
This was never in question. Christian Eckes was always going to be one of the best trucks on the track, and he continued to be this week as well. Cody, apparently Heim time is on daylight savings time. He definitely fell back.
This is why we not really you were on him here, but we've not been on him a ton lately, Rod. No. I sort of hope this keeps up the next 2 races at Milwaukee and Bristol.
Well,
and that way we can just fucking load up on him at Kansas when he destroys everyone.
Yeah, I had him as a top 3 truck at plus 100, and again, the only reason, and I said I'd take him at minus 1 something, but it got even better at even money over on BetMGM. I mean, look, Heim was never going to be a top 3 truck. Those Enfinger, Eckes, and
he took the lead late at one point. I don't.
Yeah, but it was.
I wasn't sure what was going on at that point. Was it?
Yeah, it was strategy. He was never going to hold on to that spot.
Yeah, and where did he fucking finish at? 16th.
Yeah, he ended up finishing 16th.
Man.
Yeah, after starting 6th.
I know he won North Wilkesboro. Repay maybe I had something to do with that, but it's just not been as good on the shorter tracks for sure. So I'm going to continue to know going forward. Heim time is not over. We just have the watch in the shop getting repaired right now, Rod.
Yeah.
Grant Enfinger, you talked about him earlier, top 5 plus 160. Obviously, he holds on, finishes in 4th place. So again, you're not going to hit all the top 5s, but you sprinkle enough out there, you're going to hit some of them. You're going to have a profitable day. And this was the way to do it. So Grant Enfinger cashes that top 5 plus 160.
Indeed. Although Andrew asking, is Majeski good or is he just going to get caught cheating next time? Who knows at this point?
Well, we're headed back to Milwaukee. That's where they got caught last time. So maybe they'll bring back that same official.
They've got this circled on their schedule, like check Majeski at this one. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna breeze through my next 2, and then you can talk about your next 2. I had the winning cars 0 through 9. Honestly, I thought Grant Enfinger was going to win. This looked good for a very long time. Unfortunately, Ty Majeski was the one that ended up winning it. He was the only one within the top 0 through 9, and you had to go all the way back down to Sawalich in 22nd to find the next one. So,
shit.
Yeah, we're done. We're done with that range.
We are done with that.
Yeah, and then I had Nick Sanchez to win at 20-1. There was no Nick Sanchez today or Saturday was not the car. He started 9th, but had clutch problems, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a rough day for Sanchez. So unfortunately for you, I had Taylor Gray 50-1. If a 50-1 finishes in third place, sign me up every motherfucking time. This was a great bet. Again, not all great bets are cashing bets, but if you're placing the right bets, this is how you cash on Raja Karuth 80-1 at Las Vegas and other bets like that. That's why you place these bets. We're not just giving them out for shits and giggles. Taylor Gray was fucking good. And he showed up, finished in third place. Like, what if, Rod, somebody goes in and Christian Eckes dive bombs Ty Majeski, takes each other out, and gates open up for Taylor Gray? We'd never seen anybody dive bomb anybody at Richmond before. So maybe it could have happened and he could have won. That's why you bet these. Grant Enfinger at 11-1. It's a shit ton of laps, finishes in fourth place. Fuck. That's why you place these insurance bets in case the one you go big doesn't win. But the big one we went in on was Ford plus 190, a.k.a. Ty Majeski was at 2-1 if you couldn't get just Ford, but you might as well bet Ford in case Lane Riggs pulls it off, which he had a chance at the end. But this cash, whichever way you took it, Ford at plus 190, Majeski at plus 200. Hopefully got in on it early. Look, it's not the super sexiest thing. He was the favorite going into the week. We've been doing pretty solid when we're calling out. I mean, a lot of the times we're hitting these guys. The Truck Series is just going to lean more towards these favorites. Not that 50-1s can't win or 80-1s can't win, because we've seen it. We almost saw it, right? But sometimes that's just the way it goes. And this was just too good of a spot for Majeski to not get in on it. We got a couple weeks till Milwaukee, so we'll kind of see how we feel going there. But I don't feel as like he's probably likely going to be the favorite there. And I don't feel like that's going to be a case where we got to be in on him. But at this type of track, these really short, flat tracks, he is just really I think that the tire bleeding was obviously helping them last year, but he's just really fucking good at this specific style and shows up and is good. And then he'll fade out when we get to the bigger tracks later on down the road. But this was the way to go, and it worked out well.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And again, all of this truck action, man, I just, and then of course, I think we pretty much stomped him in the fantasy game. I know you probably pulled up.
I haven't looked, but the DFS, like the Truck Series DFS show, if you're not listening to that, I was obviously out of town, Rod, so I did not put a bunch in, but I put in $11 in entries into Truck Series contests, and before that last caution, I was winning $483. Ooh. Unfortunately, I only won $283 off $11 in entry, but it was guys we talked about: Grant Enfinger, Stephen Parsons, who you gave out, Connor Hall, who I gave out. These guys were all in there, and things went great. So make sure you listen to all these episodes, because also the Cup Series DFS episode, that's where we talked about Austin Dillon. If you played him in fantasy today, probably worked out pretty damn good for you. So hopefully you did. JB checking in. What are the chances NASCAR changes the playoff format back to points? Andrew says 0 chance. It's probably less than a 0 chance. We're never going back to that. The playoff system is good. They've established it. It's awesome. And again, we don't need to go change a bunch of rules and way overreact to a one-time incident. We had 5 overtimes at Nashville. Oh no, do we need to limit overtimes? Do we need to change the rules? How many times have we had 5 overtimes? Nashville. Okay, that's the end of the list. Well, this is not happening all the time. If next week we get into a situation where they're wrecking each other, if we've ever watched these overtime restarts, Rod, people are getting wrecked. Whether it's for first place, whether it's for 13th place, wrecks are happening throughout the field. That's how it goes when you bunch all these guys back up. Again, to the win and you're in thing, we've also implemented the overtime thing. We used to just call the race at the distance. Go back to that if that's not what you want. But they're not going to go back to that. You know why, Rod? Because this is what they want.
Well, it's funny because both of us, being military men, know that you want to talk about overreacting to just one incident happening. Woo! Join the military. You want to overreact to one incident? That is exactly what the military does for you. Anything that goes wrong, change the entire system. But sir, it's only
throw the playbook out. That played it. You didn't get any yards on that play. Playbook's in the trash.
Gone.
Start writing a new playbook. Here we go.
Gone. By all means, go in my office. We were about to talk about this for 3 hours. No, listen, that was a great weekend of racing. Honestly, I'm so glad it was back. I'm glad that we got what we got. There was a lot of stuff to digest, a lot of stuff for them to look and evaluate. Because again,
what a great way to come in off of 2 weeks, 2 off, like, so great. And there's a couple of things just to kind of note quick. Eldon Sawyer was talking afterwards, and he said they're going to review everything, and go through it. So there could be penalties handed out on Tuesday. Austin Dillon, will they take the race away? I put a very, very small percentage chance on that. If they were going to do that, you do it the night, right? You come out and you say, look, we're giving him, sending him to the back of the lead lap cars because of this, or whatever the deal is.
And then assessing further after.
Right. Yeah. And but if anything, there might be some monetary fines, maybe some points fines. I don't see a suspension coming either, because you would just take the win away from him tonight. So monetary fines, points fines don't really matter, because he's in the playoffs now, and that's what they want. Richard Childress could get fined for the Wreckham comment, because it sounded like that was probably him. We'll see how that goes. But my friends over at Seriously Fast Motorsports had made a post earlier. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I meant to bring that up at the beginning of this when I was yelling, because don't hate the player, hate the game. It wasn't the player. It was the game. This is the way the game is formatted. You got to go after it, and that's what they did. So, we'll see if there's more to come from it. But and then just to touch on it real fast, I know that we've been talking for a long time, but obviously this weekend warranted it. So the way the playoffs are shaping up now, Austin Dillon obviously locks himself in, Rod. This moves Martin Truex Jr. down a little bit less comfortable, 78 points to the good. Ty Gibbs goes from 42 to the good to only 18 to the good, starting to sweat a little bit there. But Wallace moves into the playoffs +3. Buescher is out now at -3. Ross Chastain is out at -3. We got Michigan this week. Then we've got Daytona, the ultimate wild card. You could get another winner in there. So, yeah, I mean, none of these guys, even Truex, especially after the performance today, starting to sweat a little bit, because if you get a new winner at Daytona especially, and Darlington and Michigan after what we saw today, who knows who's going to pop up and win these races. So you're definitely sweating in the playoffs here.
I'm sweating in here because this ball's hot out here in California. There's only a handful of races left, but enough to make people sweat on the bubble for sure. So I'm right there with you. Like Cody said, we go to Michigan next week for both Cup Series and Xfinity. Trucks have a week off before they head over to the Milwaukee Mile.
Yep.
I was going to say Monster Mile, but that's not. It's MM, but wrong mile. The Milwaukee.
Differently shaped mile. Still a mile, much different mile.
Yeah, it's the mile the Australian breakdancer used, and not the mile that the USA breakdancer used. All right. I think that's it, Cody. I think we've well and truly exhausted Richmond for now. Granted, please go on the Discord. Conversation will continue over there.
I'll keep the conversation. You want to argue with me? I'm always down for arguing.
Bring it on, baby. Bring it on. I'll just throw my one comment in there every once in a while, just to spark.
Rod like pops in, drops a comment, leaves. That's great.
It's like I'm alive. Hi. But I was on an Army weekend this weekend too, so it was I've been up since 3:00 in the morning, Pacific time. So do you do the math for wherever you're at right now? So the fact that I'm still upright and talking, this is all plus territory, as they say in football. But all right, Cody. Well, then I think
Rod.
let everyone go, right?
Let's let everybody go. We'll be back on Tuesday, of course, with Cup Series picks for Michigan. Make sure you're tuning in. Excited for that. Get down on Red Dog early. I'm reserving that now, Rod, so you can't take it.
That's fine.
But,
I don't want to
follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Make sure you subscribe over to the YouTube. We probably weren't going to do a live show tonight because we've been traveling all weekend, but we couldn't not get on and talk about such a hot topic. You never know when we'll go live, so make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, click that bell, and get those notifications.
Yeah.
See you guys on Tuesday.
We certainly weren't planning on it, but after the race, Cody texts me.
I text Rod and I go, have you watched the race? Because I don't want to spoil it, because I know sometimes he's behind. He's like, I got 45 laps to go. I just sent the thumbs up emoji. I was like, I'll know when he's done watching.
Hey, and then behind baseball, I texted somebody else volunteering for work tomorrow, and I ended up texting him. That's a way to end the race instead of you. So I realized, because when he texted me back, he said, I have to go back home and watch it, but I didn't get. And I was like, oh, first of all, I didn't know you watched it, but cool.
But hey, I'm glad you're a NASCAR fan too. But
but I was like, oh, well, then here we go. We got something to talk about next time. But follow me on Twitter. Keep the conversation going as well at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything else I got going on. Make sure you check out In Between Media this week too, because I'm going to be on with Tino. I've never been on with Tino before. This is going to be a fantastic experience. So check that out as well. All right. We will see you on Tuesday with the Cup Series picks. And until then, let's go racing. I don't even know my own tagline.
Did Austin Dillon just bump you into the wall?
I have been wrecked out of the race, and let it ride.